I do think this is the biggest bit of news I've heard about physical media probably in the last year, believe it or not. Hi guys, Geedrew64 here, and today we're talking physical media. More specifically, we're talking about Disney finally releasing 4 of their Disney Plus exclusive shows out onto physical media. Does that still make them exclusives?
I don't know.
Yeah, they're still exclusives. They're still owned by Disney, just like everything else, right? But not only are they releasing these 4 shows, they also are releasing a exclusive movie from the Hulu service, which again is also owned by Disney, with Prey coming out. So we're going to be talking about all of those things in this video. I'll be sharing my thoughts on Disney, the relation to physical media, and also share with the information that's available right now in regards to the prices, the release dates, the pre-order dates that are going to be available. I'll share my thoughts on the art as well. All of those things will be covered here in this video. I've been very critical of Disney over the last few years, in particular, the way their movies have been handled, the way their shows have been handled, the way their streaming platform's been handled, the quality of their movies and TV shows, the handling, their mismanagement, that's what I'm going to call it, their treatment of franchises that they've purchased, their relationship with physical media, across the board. Like, Disney to me is a bad name. When I see Disney attached to something, it's a bad name. That's a far cry from 5 or 6 years ago when I saw Disney. That meant something of quality. Now when I see the Disney attached to something, I just think of something like a wrecking ball. But unfortunately, right now, that's kind of how I feel about Disney. So with this announcement, it's something that I like. And so I say all of those things that I'm being critical about to say that when they do something that I like, I want to give props to it, right? Honestly, Disney's relationship with physical media has been pretty bad over the years, particularly when it comes to the 20th Century Fox movies. Like when they purchased that, their handling of those franchises, the physical media releases of some of that stuff, the physical media releases of their own things. I have been complaining about Angels in the Outfield never having a Blu-ray release that's not even available on their Disney Plus platform. Like their Disney Movie Club exclusives that have things like the Mighty Ducks and a Goofy movie and a lot of their classic movies that are just like locked away on this paywall. Like the way that they've handled physical media has been bad, and particularly in regards to Australia, they just decided to pull up stakes there completely, and Disney said we're not releasing any more physical media for Australia.
Unbelievable.
So this whole news about them releasing this stuff, these formerly streaming exclusive things out on the physical media, sits in contrast to their decision to pull out of Australia. And that really comes to kind of what I was talking about with one of the many things I have problems with Disney is they really do seem to have a lack of focus and a lack of vision. And it seems like the right hand's not talking to the left hand, and they're not really making decisions that really make a whole lot of sense for customers. I do think this is the biggest bit of news I've heard about physical media probably in the last year, believe it or not. The fact that Disney Plus is actually being like, yeah, we're going to release some of this stuff on physical media. I think it's overall definitely a good thing. It's obviously good to have more options as a customer. Disney's late to this game. They are late to this game. They should have been doing this earlier on. Like, they thought that they were helping their streaming platform by not releasing stuff. I don't necessarily think that's the case. I think that having a streaming window where something is exclusive on your streaming service for even up to a year, by that point, you should probably just start releasing some of the physical media because at that point, nobody's subscribing to Disney Plus for that specific content. People subscribe to streaming platforms for current content, and after it's been a year, at that point you might as well try and make some extra money releasing it on physical media. People who've already seen it and like it in their physical media collectors will pick it up. And I say all this to say, again, Disney is late to this game. For instance, HBO, House of the Dragon, HBO has consistently released their stuff onto physical media. They release their stuff on streaming, then they put it on physical media. Paramount Plus, right? Paramount Plus is even doing this. The Offer, a really great underrated show that I watched on Paramount Plus, and then when the physical media came out, I bought it. Why? It's a great show. Paramount Plus is in on the game. Even Netflix, which is streaming exclusive forever, they were releasing things like Stranger Things of season 1 and season 2. They haven't released any since then. They've definitely fallen off. Netflix really needs to get in on the physical media game as well, especially with their stuff that's been out for like a year. Why not go ahead and put it out on physical media? Get other people involved in these franchises and these movies and things. Physical media collectors are going to pick it up. Other people who maybe they can't stream or don't stream for whatever reason have opportunities to check out this stuff, right? Physical media does not compete against streaming service, in my opinion. Physical media is a completely different way of watching these things. It's like saying that the theater is in competition with your in-home television. They're just multiple different ways in order for you to experience something. They aren't necessarily in competition with each other. All right, with all that said, let's just go ahead and jump into the video. So let's talk about Prey first. So Prey is releasing on October 3rd, according to most reports. However, on Best Buy, the release date for Prey is listed as September 26th. So I'm not sure which one is correct here. I would tend to lean towards Best Buy more so than the reports about this, because Prey was just announced last week. So I'm leaning towards September 26th, but I don't really know. All of these, all of the options for Prey are available for pre-order on Best Buy's website. I don't see it listed on any other website now, so all the prices I'm going to be giving you are from Best Buy. So there is a DVD option at $23. There is the Blu-ray option at $28. The Blu-ray 4K at $35, which is pretty pricey. And obviously all of these have the same art, which is fine. Nothing too crazy. I think the Steelbook art is better. I'll get into that in a second. But if you notice on these pricing options, they're definitely more on the premium side. Blu-rays normally go for $25 for new releases. They're asking $28. 4Ks normally are $30 on release. They're asking $35. DVDs, $23 versus $20. So all of these, they're definitely hiking up the price a couple dollars. And that's not, that's very evident in their Steelbook. So here's the Steelbook option, which I really like. This is the one that I would probably go with. I do like the Steelbook. I'm a Steelbook collector. They're asking $41 for this. That is the highest price Steelbook for a new release that I've ever seen. Disney in particular has been creeping up on all of their prices on all of their physical media, particularly with their Steelbooks, right? For instance, Avatar was $40. The Guardians of the Galaxy Steelbook was $40, right? These are the more recent Disney releases. $40 for a Steelbook, $41 for Prey means it is the highest priced Steelbook I have seen. So it is pretty crazy that they're really just hiking up the prices. And honestly, all of this kind of feeds into what I think the pricing might be on some of these Disney Plus shows. And I'll get into that here in a second. But in regards to Prey, I think this one really did need a physical media release because this is part of a franchise, right? The part of the Predator franchise, the Aliens franchise, Predator versus Aliens, if you want to include those movies. But if you collect all those, like for me or other people who also collect those things, it's pretty irritating when you're like, wow, I have all the Predator movies except for Prey because it's stuck away on a streaming service, right? It's kind of frustrating. There was a fan petition to have this physical media release. And I don't know for sure if that's really was the deciding factor and why this was released, but I'm pretty sure it was a contributing factor. I would have to say that if the demand wasn't there, I don't think this would be happening. And Prey is obviously part of the 20th Century Fox banner, which was streamed exclusively on Hulu, which is majority owned by Disney.
Everything the light touches is our kingdom.
And a lot of people were kind of frustrated with it was a streaming exclusive, myself included. So I'm happy this is getting a physical media release. I'd like to buy it, but it's premium priced at $35 for a basic 4K. It's just, I don't know. It's hard to justify paying that much for one movie. Now, I think a lot of this cost is probably going to go into where I'm thinking they're going to be asking for their Disney Plus shows, which they have not announced pricing at yet. But so that's Prey. Let's go ahead and segue into the Disney Plus shows. So we're going to look at Loki, the complete first season first, mainly because that is going to be the first one to release. It is releasing on September 26th. Now, all of the Disney Plus shows are going to be dropping for pre-orders on August 28th, which I think is a Monday. So if any of these Steelbooks you want, I would probably recommend pre-ordering something. I have a feeling some of them are going to sell out, particularly the Mandalorian. I really do have a feeling the Steelbooks probably will sell out prior to. All of the art that we're going to be showing here is the steelbooks. That as of filming this video, there is no art for what the basic 4K or the basic Blu-ray is going to look like. No pricing for any of this stuff yet either. So all the art is from the steelbook. Now, all of this art is done by Attila Zarka. I don't know if I say that name right. I'm sorry. I apologize for butchering the name. But all of the art for the Disney Plus shows is done by this artist. I think he does a good job on all of these, and you'll see more of that as we go through them, and I'll talk more about him a little bit later. So here is Loki, the first season. Now, my expectation on these season releases is going to be that they're probably going to be about $50. That is my guess. If you look at Prey, which is just a single movie on Steelbook for $41, my expectation for these shows is that they're going to ask $50 for these Steelbooks. I would not be surprised at that at all, or maybe even more.
Money, money, money.
Loki in particular, I have seen it. I was a subscriber to Disney Plus from day one, all the way up until a few months ago, where I finally canceled it. It was a string of bad shows, in my opinion, MCU shows, Star Wars shows, and really not a whole lot else outside of that coming out. You know, everything I saw was just, you know, mediocre to just straight up bad. So, you know, after a string of those, I was like, okay, I think I'm just done with this platform. But I did see Loki, and there are parts of the show I like. Tom Hiddleston's good. Owen Wilson's good. There's some good moments in the show. Overall, I really wasn't a fan. To me, I would say it was kind of mediocre to bad, and I say it's mainly bad because of how it negates things that happen in Infinity War, kind of undercuts them. The fact you see Infinity Stones used as paperweights really negates the stakes from that movie. The way that time travel is handled in the time travel is handled in the show really undercuts all of the movies, because it negates free will. It really it shows that Kang basically manipulated all of the events. Basically what that says is that the free will and agency of all of the characters and all the Marvel shows that we've seen is all just being manipulated by Kang, and they didn't actually have free will. And that's one of the things you have to be careful with. You're dealing with time travel stories, is its impact on other things, especially when MCU is spans all of this stuff. And so really I really didn't like Loki because of its bigger implications and how it ruined those types of things. There was other problems obviously had with the show, but I would say overall it was a mediocre show. I have no interest in going back to rewatch it at all. But the first season's coming out, and I part of the reason why I think all of these are being announced is to try and drum up some hype for the upcoming seasons, and as well as get some additional money, obviously. But Loki in particular, I think they picked that one because the second season is just around the corner. Next up is the other MCU show that's coming out, which is WandaVision. This one is listed as the complete series because there is no sequels to this. Technically, I guess Doctor Strange and a Multiverse of Madness was really the sequel to this series. This was the first MCU show to be on Disney Plus. And again, kind of like Loki, WandaVision had some good episodes early on, I think. A really good premise that definitely lent itself to it. But the ending really ruined the show for me. All this stuff with Sword, which was like a whole nother show that was kind of shoehorned in. I don't think any of that worked. I didn't like it. The messaging of the show really didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. So even though there were a lot of moments I liked and some episodes early on that I think are pretty good, this is another one that I have no intention to go back and rewatch it, mainly because of the ending. And really, it just seemed like this was just a prequel series for the Doctor Strange movie. Even though Vision is around at the end of this TV show, and then he's not mentioned or shown at all in Doctor Strange. I think that they just forgot that the Vision was still around. I don't know. And again, this really comes to what I'm talking about when it comes to management of some of these things, right? There used to be where things are a little bit more streamlined when you got like two MCU movies a year. That was a little bit easier to manage narratively. But now they've just thrown out everything in the kitchen sink. And, while Disney Plus and the MCU movies or the MCU shows on Disney Plus could have been a cool, like, little addition to the universe and tell stories that could not be contained within a movie, really, it just seemed like it's rejected concepts for movies that they turned into TV shows. And I think WandaVision is kind of parts of WandaVision are kind of like that. But again, I do like the art here. This artist is really good. If I did like this show, I would totally go for this because I do like the cover art for it. Now we're getting to The Mandalorian, right? The first season of The Mandalorian is coming out December 12th, and it's also releasing the same day as the second season, and we'll look at that here in a second. But this is something I actually am going to pre-order and I'm actually going to buy. I'm not a fan of Disney Star Wars. I think they've completely mishandled and driven this franchise into the ground from my perspective. But The Mandalorian Season 1 and even Season 2 are lone bright spots in Disney Star Wars, and that I actually liked them.
He likes it. Hey, Mikey.
And it just goes to show, no matter how vehemently people don't like the sequels or don't like what Disney's doing with Star Wars, if they do put out something good, people will give it a shot. Like, Star Wars fans want good Star Wars. Just Disney's not providing it for a lot of fans. And you know, the fact that this is getting a physical media release is really awesome, because if you collect the physical media of Star Wars, it's really strange to think that there's Star Wars content that you couldn't put on your shelf. So to me, The Mandalorian Season 1 and 2, I'm really happy that they're putting them out. This is like one of the main reasons I wanted to do this video, this and Prey, is I'm really psyched and happy that they're actually putting this out. Again, my expectations for all of these series is that they're going to ask like $50 or maybe even more for the steelbooks, which is pretty pricey. So my assumption, if you want the first season and the second season on steelbook, you're probably going to have to pay $100. And then here is the art for the second season of The Mandalorian. They have not announced the third season yet. You know, again, I don't really blame them. You want to have something exclusive on your streaming service, I would say for probably a year, at least 6 months, you know, something like that before you even attempt to put something out on physical media. But a year's what my expectation would be for a lot of this stuff. So I'm sure the third season will come out eventually, assuming that these sell even decently. They'll want to put out the third season of The Mandalorian. I didn't like the third season of Mandalorian. Honestly, that combined with Kenobi, which I think is one of the worst, it's the worst Star Wars thing I've ever seen, me personally. But I do like the first two seasons of The Mandalorian, so staying on the positive side. Yeah, again, I would definitely pre-order these. I think they look nice. I really like the art. Yeah, I think they'll make for very good steelbooks in hand. I will add that they have said that these releases, the steelbook releases at least, will include some concept art cards, which is really cool for The Mandalorian because, you know, they always end their episodes with some of the concept art, which I always sit through because I like the music and I like their concept art. At least I did for the first two seasons. But it's also supposed to include some bonus content and outtakes, deleted scenes. All of that stuff really adds to the value of a physical media release, and is why physical media doesn't have to be a competitor to streaming, but can augment some things from streaming, because it's all bonus content. If you like the show on streaming, buy it, add it to your shelf, and you get extra content. I would like to think that maybe they may use more art from this artist. Again, I'm going to butcher his name, so I'm not going to say it. I'm pretty sure it's Attila. I'll say his first name. Attila, I'm pretty sure that's correct. But he's done some other art that I found to be pretty interesting. Like here's the Ghostbusters. I said that because Bill Murray's in it. Groundhog Day, which I really like that movie. He did some art for this. I think this would look great on a steelbook as well. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, probably my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie. He's done some art for that. I think that would look good on a steelbook. He's definitely done art that's good on a steelbook. He's actually done steelbook art with this one. He did the IMAX art for the Uncharted movie, and this was actually used for the Uncharted steelbook. So he has done steelbook art in the past. So that's the information that's available right now. I wanted to go ahead and do a video on it. A lot of the information's still not out yet. Normally I like to get more information before I make a video on it to actually include the pricing options. And some of the other art, again, some of the art's not listed here. Normally I wait till all that stuff's out before I make a video. This time I was like, you know what? This is big news, biggest physical media news that I've heard this year. So I'm just going to go ahead and do a video, even though there's some incomplete information. What do you guys think? Are any of these going to be things you pick up? Or are you like Disney fans and you're going to pick up all of these? Are there some that you're going to pick up and others you aren't? Or are you just screw Disney and I don't want to buy anything that they have to put out? But I want to thank everybody for sticking around on this video. Thank you, subscribers. All of you are awesome. And if you like this video, please like, comment, share, subscribe. Do all the YouTube stuff or don't. I'm not a beggar. I'm D-True64 and I'll always tell you the truth.